Hello there, and welcome to Health and Science. Today's topic is video game addiction. So as I mentioned in the last lection, as Sigmund Freud said, people generally seek pleasure and avoid pain. And video games is one major source of pleasure for especially someone of our age and younger. And it's important to know that video games affect your well-being in many ways. The discussion about video game addiction has been around for as long as there has been video games, so it's not a new phenomenon. Video games and gaming in general is an entertaining and popular and beneficial hobby that brings us pleasure. And that is why so many people do that and play games. And video games can become an addiction as well as any other source of pleasure. It's good to bear this in mind. In this chart I have gathered some benefits and drawbacks for your physical, mental and social well-being that video games can cause. Benefits can include, for example, hand-eye coordination. It improves. Also, video games activate and stimulate your brains and also give you better reaction time. So all these, they improve by playing video games. Some drawbacks can include your neck and shoulder pain that the poor posture causes. Also headaches and insomnia, and also weaker overall muscle condition, because the position and posture you usually have when you play might be poor. So it's good to pay attention to your posture when you play. Some benefits for your mental well-being that video game causes are some successes and experiences you have when you play a game and succeed in the game. And you also learn to deal with failure and losing. Especially when you play online, you play against other people and compete with them. Then you learn to deal with the failure and losing, because you cannot avoid that when you're playing against others. You also learn many languages, but especially English. And video games also offer you good chances to practice decision making, as well as they improve your perception. Some mental drawbacks might include difficulties to control daily routines and daily rhythm. Also, interest towards studying decreases if you play too much. And playing can also become compulsive in a way, because it's addicting and it gives you pleasure, so you might seek more and more that pleasure. Video games can give you stress, and if you're prone to having depression, anxiety, video games can make those also worse. And difficulties to establish identity outside the game can be also a problem, especially in massive online role-playing games where you have your identity bound with the game, where you create your own character and you get sucked into the game world. This makes it harder for you to establish your character outside the video game world. Some social benefits include social contacts. Video games give you social contacts and also improve your interpersonal skills. But this means also that you have less face time with friends, and you might feel being lonely outside the game. And also internet and especially the online games can be really poisonous sometimes, so you can also learn some very bad interpersonal skills from the video games. So here's how you can prevent this. Physical well-being you can improve by having breaks between your sessions. Also have a good sitting posture, have a good lighting when you play, and don't play during bedtime because it will hamper your sleep. Do exercise besides games, and also eat healthy. Mentally you can prevent these damages by limiting your playtime, sleep enough during the night, and having other hobbies than just video games with friends. And lastly, social drawbacks can be prevented by meeting friends and doing stuff together, starting new hobbies, having life besides video games. So video game addiction, when playing becomes compulsive, it doesn't give you pleasure anymore and hampers your daily life. These things like your hygiene, social relationships, overall cleanliness, responsibilities and sleep start to get worse. And these are the signs that you might be forming in video game addiction. So you can get help when playing starts to feel uncontrollable. You can talk with your friends who might have the same problems. You might search internet for helpful sites. You could seek therapy, because usually video game addiction is bound together with many other mental illnesses. So you might have some problems with your life management overall and other mental health problems. So therapy might be the good way to solve this. Also, you can seek help from addiction treatment center and rehab clinics, as well as the school psychologist and nurse and other well-being professionals in the school. So as your homework now, think about this and write down your thoughts. How can you find help to treat video game addiction? Where would you seek help? And what could you do to help your friend who has video game addiction? Find 3 websites that offer help to get over video game addiction and write this down. We will talk about this in the class.